My manipulative girlfriend told her ex, "He's useless. I'm just waiting until his payout comes through. Then we'll thrive together." I didn't argue. I set the trap, stayed calm, and let her greed destroy her completely. Hey Reddit, figured I'd share a story that started with me thinking I had a solid relationship and ended with me realizing just how blind I'd been. It's got everything. A girlfriend who wasn't who she pretended to be, an ex who couldn't keep his mouth shut, and me deciding to play the game smarter instead of louder. I didn't yell, I didn't beg, I just let the whole thing unravel in a way they never expected. So, 34 male, thought I had life mostly figured out. Good job, solid income, finally felt like I was moving forward. I'd been with my girlfriend Caroline, 32 female, for 2 years. And if you asked me 6 months ago, I'd have said things were fine. We lived together in an apartment I paid the majority of, split bills here and there, did the normal, we're in a serious relationship routines. Everyone assumed we'd get married eventually. Even I thought that was the direction. Looking back though, there were cracks. Not loud, obvious ones. Obvious. More like hairline fractures that only show when the light hits right. Caroline had this thing about financial security. And I don't mean normal, let's save for the future kind of talk. I mean, if I mentioned wanting to take a trip, she'd say stuff like, "Do you really think that's smart right now?" If I bought something nice for myself, she'd give me this look like I'd just lit money on fire. Then she'd turn around and demand some ridiculous kitchen gadget because we need it. I brushed it off for a long time. Everyone's got quirks, right? But her quirks always seem to orbit around one theme. Money. 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 Now here's the deal. I had just landed a big promotion. Like career changing. I'd been grinding at my company for years, and they finally pulled me into a meeting and told me I was moving up. Big raise, signing bonus, the works. It wasn't billionaire money, but it was, I can buy a house, not just rent forever money. The kind of stability she always claimed she wanted. Funny thing? I hadn't told her yet. I wanted to wait until everything was finalized, papers signed, funds cleared. Keep it quiet. That decision ended up saving my sanity. Because one random night, I was sitting at my office late. I do a lot of my work from home, and I had my headphones half on, half off, just mindlessly clicking through files. Caroline thought I was zoned out. She was in the bedroom right next to my office with her phone, voice low. But I caught it. She wasn't talking to her mom or a friend. She was talking to Charlie. Yeah, that Charlie. The ex she swore was toxic and done forever. The guy she said was a mistake, a chapter closed. Except apparently, she left the book open and bookmarked it. At first, I thought maybe I misheard. But then she said it, clear as day. He's useless if he can't provide. I'm just waiting until his payout comes through. Then we'll thrive together. I promise. You just have to be patient. Caroline already knew my company did annual bonuses around this time of year, plus I had some stock vesting that I'd mentioned in passing months earlier. She must have latched onto that, convinced there was a big payout coming her way if she stuck it out long enough. My hand froze on the mouse. My brain stopped for a second, like the system crashed and needed a reboot. And here's where most guys might storm in. Blow up. Yell. Demand answers. Not me. I don't operate like that. If there's one thing I've learned in business and in life, it's this. Emotions make you sloppy. You want to win? You keep calm, you watch, you collect data, and then you strike when the timing is perfect. So I didn't slam the door open. I didn't scream gotcha. I just sat there, listening, heart steadying out. She was whispering more, saying things about how she was tired of waiting, how she needed to know Charlie was serious about their future. That's when it all clicked. Every side-eye about money, every passive-aggressive comment about my spending, every weird smile when I mentioned career moves. It wasn't about building with me. It was about leeching until the well dried up. You ever have one of those moments where you see someone clearly for the first time? Like you've been squinting at a blurry picture and suddenly it sharpens? That was me, sitting there in the half-dark, realizing my girlfriend wasn't a partner. She was basically a contractor, and the contract ended the second she thought I wasn't profitable. I sat back in my chair and actually laughed a little. Not a bitter laugh, not sad either, just amused. Here she was, plotting her exit like some master strategist, and she had no clue I was already 10 steps ahead. She thought she was going to cut and run once she milked me for the payout. She didn't know the payout wasn't what she thought it was, and that I'd already sniffed her game out. That's when the idea started forming. I wasn't just going to let her slip away and play the victim card. Nah. She wanted to show me how conditional her loyalty was? Fine. I'd give her the perfect stage to prove it. And the best part? She'd never see it coming. I closed my laptop that night and went through the motions like nothing happened. We brushed our teeth, climbed into bed. She rolled over and pretended to be asleep within 2 minutes. Me? I laid there staring at the ceiling, already writing the script for what was about to happen. Most guys fear the moment of discovery. They imagine fights, shouting, begging. Honestly, the quiet was worse, but also better, because in that silence, I figured out exactly who she was, and I knew exactly what I was going to do about it. So the next morning, while she was humming in the kitchen like nothing had happened, I was already drafting a plan. If her loyalty depended on money, then I was going to take the money away, on paper, at least. I opened up my laptop and typed up a fake HR termination letter. Nothing too flashy, just professional looking enough to pass if you weren't paying attention. Company logo, some boilerplate about restructuring and downsizing, a fake manager's signature. I even put in a little line about severance just to make it extra believable. Anyone with an actual HR background would have seen through it, but Caroline wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. She was ignorant enough to buy it, entitled enough to assume it meant her life was over, and delusional enough to believe she deserved better. I printed it, folded it neatly, slid it into a plain envelope. This wasn't going to be some oops, she found it on the desk move. Too easy. I wanted her reaction face to face, no wiggle room. 2 nights later, I set the scene. I made dinner like normal. Grilled chicken, pasta, salad. Nothing special, but enough to keep her from noticing I was acting different. I kept the envelope tucked under my laptop, waiting. She was talking about a coworker who bought a new SUV, and how responsible people invest in things that last. That was my cue. I leaned back, sighed like I'd been holding it in all night. Actually, I got some news today, I said. She looked up, fork halfway to her mouth. What kind of news? I slid the envelope across the table. Company's downsizing. My job's gone. For a second, she froze. And man, it was like watching a bad actress in a low-budget play. First came the fake sympathy face. Wide eyes, soft gasp. She reached for my hand, squeezed it like she was auditioning for Supportive Girlfriend of the Year. We'll get through this, she said. It's just a bump, right? You'll find something else. I nodded, kept my face blank. Yeah, sure, just rough timing. She launched into all the predictable lines. Maybe we cut back on eating out. Maybe you shouldn't buy new clothes for a while. We can make it work if we're careful. It sounded good on paper, but I caught the way her eyes shifted. No warmth, no actual care, just calculations running behind the mask. The thing about people like her is they can fake empathy, but they can't sustain it. You can't act 24/7. By the next morning, little cracks started showing. She was quieter at breakfast. That night, she scrolled on her phone instead of asking about my day. By the second day, she was taking longer to run errands. Third day, she barely spoke to me at all. I didn't push. I didn't beg. I just logged her behavior like a scientist studying an experiment. Every cold glance, every sigh, every time she ignored me when I talked about applying to jobs. She was proving my theory in real time. On the evening of day 3, she gave up the charade. I came home from grabbing groceries, and half her closet was empty. On the counter was her version of a goodbye. A neat little letter, printed out not even handwritten like she thought that would make it more professional. I can't do this anymore. Financial instability is too much pressure. I need to focus on myself and my future. I wish you the best. That was it. 2 years boiled down to a paragraph that read more like a bad LinkedIn post than a breakup. No discussion, no fight, no second chance. She saw broke boyfriend and instantly jumped ship. I didn't get mad. I didn't even feel sad. I just smiled. Because she didn't know that while she was packing her bags, I was packing something better. A fat promotion letter and a signing bonus that had already hit my account. She thought she was making a tactical move, cutting losses before she got dragged down. What she really did was expose herself for exactly what she was. And me? I was just getting started. I spent that night cleaning up the apartment, boxing up the rest of her stuff, labeling it evidence in my head. Every little thing she left behind was just another reminder that she'd failed the test spectacularly. Most guys would have been sitting on the couch, crushed, wondering what went wrong. I was sitting at my desk with her printed letteral in one hand, my fake HR letter in the other, and a grin on my face. This wasn't heartbreak. This was leverage. She'd proven exactly who she was. And now I was going to show her exactly who I was. The morning after she left, I didn't sit around sulking. I wasn't staring at walls or refreshing her socials like some lost puppy. I woke up, brushed my teeth, brewed coffee, and pulled up my actual promotion letter. The one with my name on it. Real signature. Real numbers. Reading it after she'd walked out was almost funny. While she thought she was bailing on a sinking ship, I was already sitting on a lifeboat made of solid gold. The promotion came with a raise big enough to laugh at my old rent, plus a signing bonus that cleared faster than I expected. My new role meant more hours, but also more control, more authority, and more money. Basically everything she claimed to want in a partner, except now she wasn't around to leech off it. I called a realtor that afternoon. I'd been toying with the idea of buying a place for months, but with her gone, no hesitation. Found a modest two-bedroom with a porch and a yard that looked like it hadn't seen a lawnmower since Obama was in office. Perfect. I didn't want shiny glass condos or penthouses. I wanted something that was mine, bought outright with my savings and the bonus. No co-owner, no strings, and far away from her perfume-stained memory. Closing the deal moved faster than I thought. 2.5 weeks later, I was standing in my own living room surrounded by boxes, breathing in the smell of paint and possibility. The realtor congratulated me, handed me the keys, and left. I remember locking the door behind me and just standing there in the quiet. This wasn't our future. This was my empire. But I'll admit, I wanted her to know. Not out of longing, but because I wanted to see the hypocrisy burn right through her face. So I snapped a picture. Nothing fancy, just me sitting on the porch steps with the key in my hand. Caption: close the deal. Fresh start. No hashtags, no tags, nothing. Just tossed it out there like a bone to a starving dog. It took 7 minutes. Phone buzzed, Caroline calling, decline. Buzzed again, Caroline calling, decline. Then a text, you bought a house? Then another, I don't understand. I thought you lost your job. That was supposed to be our house, our future. Oh, and then the cherry on top? A call from a number I didn't recognize. Voicemail came through later. It was Charlie. His voice had that fake tough guy growl. You think you can play games with her like that? You screwed her over, man. You're gonna make this right. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Caroline ditched me because she thought I was broke. Now she was dialing me back to back because I was too successful without her. And Charlie, the guy she was drooling over on the phone, was angry that I wasn't rolling over like a beta. Comedy writes itself. I didn't answer a single call. I didn't reply to a single text. I just sat on my porch with a cold soda, watching the sunset like I'd planned this moment years in advance. Because in a way, I had. Not the exact details, but the principle. Expose people for what they are, and let them self-destruct. The messages kept coming over the next few days. Caroline tried every angle. Sweet at first, I just don't get it. We looked at houses online together for months. You can't just erase me from that. Then angry. You owe me for the time I invested in us. I sacrificed for you. Then desperate. We can fix this. I know I messed up, but we can try again. Please call me. Every single one was proof. Proof that her so-called love had a price tag. Proof that her loyalty was for sale to the highest bidder. And me? I didn't give her a dime. Not my money, not my time, not even a syllable. All I gave her was silence. Friends started texting me too. Hey man, Caroline's saying some stuff about you. Everything okay? I didn't explain. I just replied with one picture. Her breakup letter about financial instability. Let them draw their own conclusions. No need for long speeches. Receipts speak louder than whining. Meanwhile, I was setting up the new house. Unpacking boxes, picking out furniture, setting up Wi-Fi. Every nail I hammered into the wall, every shelf I built, felt like staking another claim. This wasn't just a home. This was a monument to the fact that I didn't need her. Never did. She wanted to prove how conditional her love was? Fine. I was proving how unconditional my success was. With or without her, I win. Charlie kept popping up too, leaving comments under my photo. Don't believe what you see. This guy's a liar. He stole that house from her. Like anyone would believe him. I deleted the comments, blocked him, and moved on. Let him bark into the void. A loud dog isn't scary when the fence is solid. By the end of that week, Caroline's calls had slowed down, but I knew she wasn't done. Women like her don't quit when they lose. They double down, convinced they can twist reality to make themselves the victim. And Charlie? He wasn't going to sit quietly either. Guys like him can't handle being second choice even when they technically win. I leaned back in my chair that night, sipping on water, looking at my clean new living room. My file of evidence was growing, and my patience was solid. I didn't need to chase revenge. I just needed to wait. They'd come to me, and when they did, I'd be ready. Because I wasn't just the guy they underestimated. I was the guy who made the rules of the game. Sure enough, a few days later, the smear campaign began. Caroline couldn't stand silence. For people like her, Silence feels like losing control. And losing control is worse than losing money. First wave hit on Facebook. A long post with her usual melodrama. Some people pretend to love you just to play games with your emotions. Imagine faking a layoff just to hurt someone who gave you 2 years of their life. I didn't deserve that. No woman does. Never trust a man, ladies. The comments section filled with the usual sympathy. Her little echo chamber of friends chiming in, "You're so strong. You deserve better. Men are trash. You know the type." Second wave came on Instagram. She posted a picture of herself holding a wine glass on some patio with the caption, "Healing. Growing. Won't let manipulative people break me." The irony? The patio wasn't even hers. It was Charlie's dingy apartment balcony, and you could see the rusted railing in the background. Then came Charlie. My post about the new house was like catnip to him. He commented under it, "This guy's a fraud." Lied to her for years. Stole her dream home. The best part? He added, "Enjoy your house built on lies." Like he was auditioning for some soap opera. Friends started texting me screenshots. "Dude, what's going on? Did you really fake a layoff? Why is Charlie talking like he was in your relationship?" I didn't flinch. I didn't send out mass explanations. I didn't type walls of text defending myself. That's how you look guilty. Instead, I replied with two things when people asked. Pictures of Caroline's breakup letter about financial instability. Screenshot of my actual promotion letter with my name on it. No captions, no ranting. Just cold receipts. People connected the dots themselves. And when people figure things out on their own, it sticks harder than if you tell them directly. Caroline must have realized her smear posts weren't working because the tone of her messages to me changed fast. At first, "Hey, sweetie, we can fix this together. This is all a misunderstanding. I think I panicked." Then, "You think you have outsmarted me? You're just pathetic. You should be thankful that I looked in your direction." And finally, the threats. "If you don't give me my share, I'll tell everyone you manipulated me, that you faked losing your job just to torture me. People will believe me. Don't test me." I almost laughed reading that one. Don't test me? Lady, you've been failing the test since day one. So I screenshotted the message, dropped it into my growing evidence folder, and went back to setting up my living room. Every time she tried to weaponize drama, I just added another page to the case file. I wasn't fighting her. I was curating her downfall like an art gallery. Charlie wasn't any smarter. He showed up in my DMs with the same alpha act nonsense. You think you're better than her? You embarrassed her. She deserves respect. That's why she ended up with me now. Give her what she's owed or I'll make you regret it. Classic tough guy typing threats like he's auditioning for WWE. I didn't engage. Just screenshotted, archived, and kept stacking the file. Meanwhile, I did a quiet digital purge. Removed Caroline from all shared accounts. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon. Changed every password, updated every security question. Little clicks, little victories. A digital exorcism. Felt cleaner than taking out the trash. I also cut off her access to anything with my money. Joint utilities? Transferred to my name. I gave notice on the lease, but she handled the final walkthrough after I'd moved out. Her gym membership she'd temporarily attached to my card? Gone. Each notification that something had been disconnected felt like another chain snapping loose. And here's the funny part. While they were busy spinning lies online, I was upgrading my life offline. Built a new desk in my office. Installed shelves. Even got a grill for the backyard because why not? Let them waste their time trying to win sympathy points. I was too busy stacking real wins. One evening, Caroline must have realized the smear campaign wasn't landing because she called me 8 times in a row. Voicemail after voicemail. The first ones were her fake sweet voice. "Hey, I'm just really confused. I'm not how you think I am. You know I'm better. Can we talk? I'm worried about you." Then the mask slipped. "You can't do this to me. After everything I put into us, I deserve something. Don't act like I didn't help you." Help me? The only thing she ever contributed was her Zillow scrolling addiction. The idea that she thought clicking through listings was equal to a down payment cracked me up. By voicemail 7, she was furious. "You're going to regret this. I'm talking to a lawyer. You'll be hearing from them soon." I saved them all. Each voicemail was another nail in her coffin. See, that's the difference between me and them. They thought it was about noise. Who can yell the loudest online? Who can post the most dramatic caption? But I knew it was about receipts. Quiet, boring, undeniable receipts. Judges don't care about Facebook likes. They care about evidence. So while Caroline was playing influencer victim, I was building the kind of case you could hand to a lawyer and have them say, "Wow, this is airtight." And that's when I realized something important. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This wasn't even about revenge. This was about discipline. She wanted chaos, but I gave her order. She wanted a fight, but I gave her silence. And silence, when backed by proof, is louder than any smear campaign. That silence didn't last long, though, because Caroline figured if social media pity points weren't cutting it, then maybe the courts would. A week later, I opened my mailbox and found an envelope with Small Claims Division stamped on the front. For a second, I thought it was junk mail. Then I saw her name. She'd actually filed. Her claim was for $5,000. The breakdown? Compensation for emotional distress, financial planning services, and damages caused by manipulative deception. Translation: she was trying to charge me for wasting her time and not handing her my promotion money on a silver platter. I stood in my kitchen laughing. She wasn't even embarrassed to put this nonsense in writing. She'd taken my fake HR stunt and twisted it into emotional abuse. Like the judge was going to nod along while she explained how she dumped me the second she thought I was broke. And as if that wasn't enough, the same day, my old landlord called. He sounded apologetic, like he knew he was about to tell me something stupid. Apparently, Caroline had walked into the management office right after I moved out and claimed she was handling the lease wrap-up. She signed the paperwork and collected the $2,350 security deposit. In her mind, it was just another compensation package. For context, I was the one who paid the original $2,350 deposit when we first signed the lease. After I moved out, she slipped in to do the closing paperwork alone, so management cut the refund check to her. The landlord said his hands were tied. The check had been issued to her because her name was technically still on the lease. "It's a civil matter now," he said. Of course it was. So now she wasn't just running her mouth online. She was trying to turn the law into a weapon. Except the thing about weapons is, if you don't know how to use them, you usually end up cutting yourself. I went straight to work. First move, drafted a formal demand letter for the deposit. Professional tone, polite even, but no wiggle room. Cited the lease clause word for word, gave her 14 days to return the full amount via certified check before I filed my own claim. I even sent it by certified mail and emailed her a copy, just so she couldn't play dumb later. Second move, started a new folder on my desk labeled Court. Dropped in her breakup letter about financial instability, screenshots of her threats, transcripts of her voicemails. I highlighted the lines where she bailed because she thought I was broke. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. I wasn't just a defendant. I was building a case like a prosecutor. But the real comedy came a few days later when Charlie decided he was going to play enforcer. I was leaving my office building downtown, coffee in hand, when I heard someone shout my name. I turned, and there he was, storming across the plaza like a discount security guard, face red, chest puffed out. "We need to talk," he barked, stepping right into my space. I didn't flinch, just looked him dead in the eye and said, "We don't." That ticked him off. He leaned closer, trying to intimidate me with size. "You're gonna make this right with Caroline. You humiliated her. You're a psycho, man. Who fakes losing their job? That's sick." I sipped my coffee. The only game was the one she was playing with me for money. I just held up a mirror. He scoffed, shook his head like he was delivering some moral lesson. "She invested years in you. You owe her something." I smiled, slow and deliberate. "You're right. I do owe her. My $2,350 security deposit. The one she walked off with. That one hit." His smirk cracked just a little. Then he tried to recover, leaning in with his best tough guy whisper. "She told me you said she could keep it. For her troubles. Who do you think the landlord's gonna believe?" "Thank you, Charlie." Seriously. He thought he was intimidating me. But what he really did was gift wrap another piece of evidence. I didn't even argue. I just said, "Appreciate the clarification," turned, and walked to my car. After he stormed off, I went straight to building security and filed an incident report. They pulled the footage from the cameras, confirmed what happened, and put Charlie on the do not enter list. The moment I sat down, I typed an email to myself documenting every word, date, time, his exact phrasing. Charlie confirmed Caroline told him I agreed to let her take deposit. Perfect. Another exhibit. That's the thing about people like them. They think intimidation works. They think being loud equals being powerful. But power isn't volume. Power is receipts, control, and timing. And I had all three. Meanwhile, Caroline was still busy spinning her version of the story online. According to her, I was some manipulative villain who faked financial ruin to emotionally torture her. She actually typed those words. And some people bought it, sure. Some friends pulled back, got awkward, probably thinking I'd lost it. That part stung, I won't lie. Being rewritten as the villain in your own life story is a weird kind of pain. But I wasn't panicking, because unlike Caroline, I trusted the process. Lies spread fast, but truth has more stamina. You just need patience. And I had patience in spades. By the end of that week, my court folder was stacked and organized. Her claim, my counterclaim draft, all the screenshots, all the voicemails, and now Charlie's accidental confession. It wasn't just a defense, it was a demolition plan. She thought she could sue me for emotional distress. She had no idea what actual distress looked like, but she was about to find out. Court day finally rolled around. Small claims doesn't sound like much, but you'd be surprised how many lives get torn apart in those bland little rooms. No jury, no theatrics, just you, your evidence, and whether the judge believes you. I walked in calm, file folder under my arm. Not because I cared about appearances, but because I knew optics mattered. Caroline was already there. She had Charlie with her, of course, because she couldn't go 5 minutes without a cheerleader. She dressed like she was on her way to a job interview with the whole professional victim costume. Charlie, on the other hand, sat slouched in his chair with his arms crossed, glaring at me like I'd just stolen his parking spot. We got called up. Caroline went first since she was the plaintiff. And man, if acting paid as well as she thought my promotion did, she might have had a career. Tears in her eyes, voice trembling just enough to seem authentic. She said I'd tricked her into believing I'd lost my job, that I'd emotionally manipulated her, left her devastated, and then blindsided her with a new house while she was still recovering. She called it psychological cruelty. She even threw in lines like, I invested 2 years of my life in him. I helped him plan for our future. The judge just nodded, jotting down notes, face unreadable. Caroline wrapped up with a dramatic sniff and sat back like she'd just nailed the audition of a lifetime. Then it was my turn. I didn't give a speech. I didn't try to act. I opened my folder and laid out Exhibit A. Her breakup letter, printed in black and white, time-stamped. I read it aloud. Financial instability is too much pressure. I need to focus on my future. I slid it across to the judge. This is the note she left the day after I told her I'd supposedly lost my job. She didn't mention emotional trauma. She mentioned money. The judge raised an eyebrow. Caroline shifted in her seat. Exhibit B. Screenshots of her text to me after I bought the house. I highlighted the line where she said, that was supposed to be our house. Our future. I looked at the judge. Notice she didn't say she was heartbroken about me. She was angry about the house. Exhibit C, my actual promotion letter. I never lost my job. I was promoted. The instability claim was never real. Her own words confirm she left because she thought I had no money. The judge flipped through the papers slowly, her face hardening. Caroline's fake confidence started to slip. Then came the fun part. I called out Charlie's little parking lot performance. I explained how he confronted me outside my office, how he confirmed Caroline told him I agreed to let her take the $2,350 deposit. I presented my dated notes of the conversation. The judge turned to Charlie. Did you make these statements to the defendant? Charlie puffed up his chest, trying to look righteous. Yeah, I said it. She told me he agreed. He's lying if he says otherwise. I leaned back and let the silence hang. The judge studied him for a long second, then looked back at Caroline. So you admit your witness was aware of your taking the deposit before you had any legal entitlement to it? That was the crack. Caroline stammered, tried to spin it, but the damage was done. Her knight in shining ego had just confirmed they coordinated the story. The judge wasn't impressed. She leaned forward, voice sharp. Miss Mayers, your claim is not only meritless, it borders on abusive. Seeking compensation for a partnership you clearly intended to abandon the moment you believed there was financial instability is an insult to this court's time. Dismissed. With prejudice. Then the judge turned to my countersuit for the deposit. Caroline tried to cling to her lie. He said I could keep it, but Charlie had already tanked her credibility. The judge ordered her to return the full $2,350 plus my filing fees. It was over. Caroline's face cracked right there at the table. She went from teary victim to furious partner in crime in about 3 seconds. Charlie muttered something under his breath, but neither of them looked at me as we left. Outside, I could hear their hushed whispers escalating into a heated argument. The United Front had collapsed into blame-shifting chaos. I didn't say a word, didn't gloat, didn't smirk. I just walked out of that courthouse like it was another Tuesday meeting, because that's how you win. You don't just beat them, you make them implode on their own. And the best part? Word spread fast. Our mutual friends who'd bought into her poor me posts suddenly went quiet. A couple even texted me apologies. Man, I had no idea. I kept it short. No worries. Validation wasn't the prize. Watching her destroy her own credibility was. Charlie's job even took a hit. Sales guys rely on reputation, and showing up in court like her angry bodyguard didn't exactly scream trustworthy professional. I heard through the grapevine his manager wasn't thrilled. Apparently, getting banned from my office building after his stunt in the plaza didn't help either. By the time I cashed the court check, Caroline's social media had gone dead quiet. No inspirational quotes, no healing journey, nothing. Silence. The same silence she couldn't stand before. Except this time, it wasn't my silence. It was hers. And that was the real finish. Caroline tried once more to reach out. A single text popped up a few days after the judgment check hit my account. Hope you're happy in your stupid house all alone. You ruined my life. I stared at it for about 10 seconds, then deleted it. Blocked her number. That wasn't a message from a partner. That was a message from a ghost. And ghosts don't get replies. With her gone and the noise cut off, the house finally felt like mine. No one nagging about how much I spent. No one side-eyeing me like I owed them something. Just me and peace. But I wasn't done yet. One last surgical strike remained. See, Charlie had run his mouth enough that I knew exactly what kind of guy he was. Loud, arrogant, thought intimidation made him powerful. Guys like that live for image. They want to be the tough guy in public, the loyal boyfriend, the one who rescued the poor mistreated girl. The truth doesn't just hurt people like him. It dismantles the entire persona they build their lives on. So I packaged up a neat little email. Screenshots of Caroline's breakup letter about financial instability. Screenshots of her text about waiting until my payout. Screenshots of her threatening to tell everyone I manipulated her if I didn't give her money. Attached the court judgment too, with the judge's dismissal of her claim and the order for her to pay me back. Subject line, in case you're curious about the full story. I sent it straight to Charlie's family. Parents, siblings, whatever emails I could find through public info, and the scraps Caroline herself had mentioned back when she thought gossip was cute. Never got a reply, but I didn't need one. I just pictured that Thanksgiving dinner when his phone buzzed, and suddenly everyone at the table knew their son wasn't a knight in shining armor. He was the idiot who backed a failed gold digger in open court. That image alone was enough. After that, I didn't look back. I finished furnishing the house, planted a small garden in the yard, even reconnected with a couple friends who mattered. Life wasn't perfect, but it was steady, mine and quiet in the right ways. She thought she was clever. She thought she could time her exit, cash in on my success, and walk into Charlie's arms with a smile. Instead, she walked straight into a trap she never saw coming. And me? I got exactly what I wanted. Clarity, closure, and peace. That's the part people never tell you. Revenge doesn't have to be loud to be satisfying. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting on your porch, fork in hand, knowing you handled the worst storm with a calm heart and a clear head. Caroline and Charlie thought they'd written my downfall. Instead, they were just footnotes in my story. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.